Hello everyone, this is CJ with Cycletron. Well, I thought I'd talk about how to sell your used motorcycle. I've bought and sold a number of motorcycles over the years, and what inspired me to do this video is my wife bought me a Katana sport bike for our anniversary, and I thought, you know, maybe I should unload one of the bikes. The stable's getting pretty full. So I started out trying to sell my Copart Special, and then recently my son moved to a different part of the country where the motorcycle riding wasn't going to be any good. The traffic was horrible. I think he made the right decision. He's almost gotten in several accidents in his car due to other drivers since he moved there. So anyway, he wanted me to sell his Kawasaki Z900 RS cafe bike. So these recent experiences of trying to sell, or in fact selling, a used motorcycle reminded me of several things that I've encountered in the past and I've had to update given current circumstances. So let's take my YZF 600R Yamaha. So I started out posting an ad on OfferUp and Facebook, and I had the bike pretty moderately priced. I mean, it's an old bike. Cosmetically it's pretty rough, but it runs great. And you wouldn't believe the flakes that came out of the woodwork. I mean, I remember back in the classified ad days, you put an ad in the paper and people would waste your time who clearly weren't interested in buying the bike or weren't able to, or say they were going to come look at the bike, and back then you usually gave out your home address and half the time they didn't show up. But it seems like the internet has elevated that to a whole nother level of hassle. So I get messages at 8 o'clock at night, you know, a half hour before it gets dark. I want to buy this bike tonight. I have the cash. And they'd send me a picture of a stack of cash, you know, thousands of dollars. It's like, okay. So first of all, a couple of pointers. If you're going to put an ad to sell a bike in something like Facebook or OfferUp, be prepared for all the flakes and scammers. A common scam is to get somebody to try and trade you something. You know, you're trying to sell, say in this case, a Yamaha sport bike, and they're offering to trade either for full value or partial credit something you're completely uninterested in, you know, like some old cruiser. Well, the scam is, if you fall for that, chances are the bike they want to trade you has no title. You know, it's probably stolen. I mean, if it has no title for whatever reason, you're not going to be able to register it. So what's it worth? Zero. Then you get the lowballers. People that say, you know, if you're asking for, say, $2,000, they'd offer you $1,200. It's like, no. Or somebody that would, and this all happened to me, they would text me, say, I really like the bike, but all I got is like half of what you're asking for. Please, please, please. You know, like, no, I'm not running a charity here. I mean, this is, I got fed up with the whole thing and just pulled out of it. But anyway, to the extent that people may actually show up and look at the bike, I'd recommend meeting in a public place, preferably a bank. I told people in the ad, money order or cash only, no checks of any kind. I might do a cashier's check if I go to their bank and cash it on the spot, or see them draft it out of their account. See them as in the bank teller. Actually, I said money order or cash. So they can get money orders at convenience stores, post offices, things like that. So ultimately, I just kept the bike. It just wasn't worth the hassle dealing with these people. So let's go to my son's Kawasaki. You know, 2020. Got it new last August. Had low miles on it. So I'm thinking, given the current circumstances, that anything vehicle related, there's a shortage of new vehicles and used vehicles are selling for a premium. So I thought I should be able to sell this bike with no problem. I mean, the book value at least was 9 grand on that bike. Full retail is about 11. My son wanted to get at least 7,500, which I thought was reasonable. So you could go the Cycle Trader route. The problem with Cycle Trader, or really just selling a bike like that directly of that price, is that people aren't going to have the money. Typically, they're going to have to finance it. And of course, on Cycle Trader, you get the same old stuff of unqualified buyers, people not really serious, you know, the time wasters. But you can still sell it on Cycle Trader. And I decided, you know, I don't really want to mess with Cycle Trader. Last time I tried it, it didn't work out too well. And there was no way I was going to put a bike like that on Facebook or OfferUp. So I decided, you know, I'm getting all these emails from different motorcycle dealers saying, if you got something to sell, we'll buy it. So I called my local Kawasaki dealership, told them what I had, what the miles were. I said, I understand you'll have to see it, but let's stipulate that it's in good condition, low miles, the whole bit. And based on that, give me a price. If it's anything other than that, when you see it in person, then that price will be negotiable. I get it. But if it's as I represent it, then let's agree to a price. So they said, okay, $8,500, bring it on in. So I wrote it up in July in full gear. It was like 105 out. Stop and go traffic, because I did it on a Friday. I was all sweated up. So I get there, and as soon as I get there, I said, yeah, I talked to this guy, and oh yeah, we knew you were coming. So how much do you want for the bike? I said, what do you mean, how much do I want for the bike? You guys already agreed at $8,500. Oh, well, no, we just need to talk about it. That's kind of what the potential was, but we had to see it all out. I'm like, it's as I represented it. It's low miles, it's perfect. And so it was obvious they were just gaming me. Apparently, I guess they call that a screamer in the industry. But yeah, I realized what was going on, and after 30 seconds I left. I said, you guys completely wasted my time here. I don't appreciate it, and I'm not going to forget what you guys did here. So another dealer bites the dust as far as I'm concerned. So I called another dealer, non-Kawasaki dealer, but they sell a lot of metrics, a lot of sport bikes, place I do a lot of business with. And I said, okay, what would you give for this bike? 7 grand. I'm like, yeah, that's low. And they said, well, we could sell it on consignment. I thought, well, that's an interesting idea. They said, yeah, we'll take 10% of the sales price for ourselves and you keep the rest. What's the minimum you'll take for it? 7,500. Okay. So I dropped it off. They said, look, this is your bike. If anybody test rides it, it'll be on your insurance. And I thought, man, that's not great. But then I thought, you know, this is a dealership that lets people test ride everything, so I'll just roll with it. Against my better judgment, I'll just see what happens. So they sold the bike in 2 days. They said, come up and get your check. So I get there, and they had a check for $7,500. I'm like, okay. And then paperwork showing me that you were buying the bike for me for $7,500. And I'm thinking, well, where's the paperwork showing what you sold it for? You know, I saw they had it on their website for $10,300. So that's a pretty good spread. If they were asking $10,300, I'm pretty sure they sold it for more than $7,500. So, you know, I got game there too. These are people that I trusted for a long time. They kind of gave me a generic consignment agreement. It wasn't fully executed. And yeah, this is how things happen. I trust people. And I guess I put my guard up for people that I think I shouldn't trust, or I don't know one way or the other. And what I'm finding out here lately, given everything that's going on, the greed factor has just gone through the roof. And so it's like, okay, well, I'll take my $7,500, and guess what? I'm not buying anything here anymore. I didn't tell them that, but that's a promise I made to myself. It's like they clearly didn't stick to our agreement. Now, did I have the backup paperwork to clearly spell it out? No, but the intent was they were going to take 10%. And that's not what happened. So, between the Facebook scammers, the dealership scammers, it just kind of puts you off trying to sell a bike right now. I think maybe the way to go is if you've got a good friend who's interested and you can make him a good deal, sell him your bike. I mean, you might want to take it to a dealer service department and spend a half hour of shop time and have them go through it, so your buddy knows what you're starting with. So if something happens that you weren't aware of, they don't think you try to put one over on them and lose a friendship as a result. But it's, I don't know, maybe I should have been more patient with the cycle trader route. It just, if you do something like that, where somebody sends you a check, if you take a cashier's check or what have you, they don't get the title signed over until those funds are clear, which might take about a week. I bought a motorcycle on eBay one time, and I arranged for the bike to be shipped to me, and the seller wisely said, "Look, when your funds are clear, I'll send the bike." And that's how it happened. So the other thing I would consider, I mean, look at your state requirements. Usually there's specific paperwork that goes with selling a used vehicle, and maybe different paperwork for selling a motorcycle versus a car. You know, odometer statements. You might need a notarized bill of sale. You know, if you do get cash and you sign over the title, take a picture of it or get a copy made. You know, so check out what your local regulations are, and if you do anything like that, get the paperwork done up in duplicate, one for you and one for the buyer. So those are my tips. Like I said, I sold motorcycles back in the day when you put an ad in the paper. Normally, the way I get rid of old bikes is when I trade them in for something else, and I'm really done with that. So I'm gonna keep what I have or pare it down a little bit. So for me, if I want to get rid of a vehicle, it's just going to be selling it on my own. Now, the reason I didn't try and sell the Copart Special to a dealer, they didn't want it because it had a salvage title on it, even though it was for cosmetic reasons. That's like the kiss of death for them trying to sell it to somebody else. So please let me know your thoughts on this. Have you had some better experiences selling vehicles? Probably the best one I ever had experience-wise selling a motorcycle is I sold a motorcycle about 12 years ago on eBay, and I got full price for it because it was an orange tank. It was a Honda VTX 1300, and a guy who was a UT alum liked the kind of metallic burnt orange color, so he paid full price for it, sent some buddies to pick it up, and that was it. That was easy. Maybe I should only deal with buyers from Texas, I don't know. So again, please let me know your thoughts in the comments section, and please stay tuned for future videos.